Welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping by. Rainy day here. Hope you're having sunshine. Rays. Oh, it's below zero? Not everywhere. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, we greet you with open arms. And if you're a regular listener, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We will get to some things that are trending. Apparently, we talk a lot on the show about food, right? And processed food. Well, there's a story trending this morning about processed food that I think will get your attention. Got mine. And a young man, teenager, disobeyed his mother. This may be a case where disobedience, it's an interesting case of disobedience. That term, disobedience, used to be used a lot. Not so much anymore. Disobedience. In Catholic school, that was a big deal. There was no disobedience. There was obedience. For sure. It's an interesting time. Loved it. And what else? Oh, man, just one thing after another. And that's okay. We'll get to it, you know. The story on processed food is something. I was listening, driving in. I was listening to this neuroscientist talk about addiction. And she had an interesting take on it. First of all, she's a recovering drug user and talks about the challenges of her own life. Ends up being becoming a premier researcher in the arena of addiction. And she was on NPR this morning, Fresh Air. Judith Grisel. She struggled with alcohol, marijuana, cocaine. It was an intriguing interview. Got to give her a lot of credit. Boy, geez. The interviewer asked her, he said, well, you know, did you start to get into the science of it because you were trying to figure out what addiction was all about and trying to help other people? She said, no. I got into the science of it because I was trying to figure out how I could still use. That was an honest answer. She said, well, if addiction is a disease and we can cure a disease, maybe, she said, I can figure out how to cure the disease and I can start to use. I can use. But then 30 years along the way, she realized that that's not how it works. That's a pretty honest answer. The book is entitled, this new book, it's called Never Enough. She explores the biology of addiction. And she talks about how there are some people, 1 in 8, if my memory serves me, 12% of the population has this genetic predisposition to use drugs. They just find it so satisfying. And Dr. Grisel said, I'm always interested in the mechanism of things. And when I heard that I had a disease, I kind of felt naturally that would have a biological basis. And I figured that I could study that biological basis and understand it and then maybe fix it. 30 years has passed without using drugs. Dr. Grisel, she's a professor of psychology at Bucknell University. And her day-to-day life, her purpose is to figure out how addictive drugs work on the brain. The full title of the book is Never Enough, The Neuroscience and Experience of Addiction. And I'm just curious if in her book she talks about food addiction, because it is real. Certainly she's going to talk about drugs and alcohol abuse, how it affects the brain, and how during the interview she talked about how drug and alcohol abuse affects the brains of young people. She said the changes in behavior that happen during adolescence are so important and lasting because the brain is forming permanent structures. So whatever you experience as an adolescent is going to have a much more impactful influence on the rest of your life. Think about that for a second. If you did this at another time in development when your brain wasn't so prone to changing, maybe be all right. But went on to talk about how when the circuits are laid down in your brain, if they're laid down under the influence of a drug, then they're going to be laid down differently than if it's not under the influence of a drug. And if you start using it at age 28, when the circuits are already more or less set, then you're not going to have such a long-lasting impact. Now, when you think about the young people today, and I don't know what the numbers are, I haven't looked at them lately, what the addiction rate, what the drug use, alcohol and drug use prevalence is among adolescents. Maybe Gary might find that. Your destiny can be shaped by what you do during adolescence in terms of drugs and alcohol. For the rest of your life, the consequences are grave. Probably the brain is not mature until about 25, and that's a critical time. She said we definitely see lasting changes on the brain and behavior, so binge drinking certainly predisposes toward alcoholism. It also alters the circuits, the connections between the nerves and the pathways, including the dopamine pathway. I dig dopamine, by the way. Whew. Love dopamine. Serotonin, dopamine, they make you feel good. It's not just drinking early, or how much you drink, but the pattern that you drink. And binge drinking is probably the worst pattern if you want to predispose toward problem use. I was reading and paraphrasing, quoting, giving attribution to Dr. Grissel. Interesting stuff. And I just wonder, I would love to interview her. If abusing food during adolescence, binge eating, does that predispose you for the rest of your life in the same way that drugs and alcohol do toward an unhealthy relationship with food? That's immediately why my mind went there right away. She describes alcohol. She describes it as a pharmacological sledgehammer. Oh, God. Holy cow. A pharmacological sledgehammer. I've never seen that phrase before. She says, alcohol is such a mess. It's a tiny, tiny molecule, and it acts all over the brain in so many different pathways. It affects endorphins, as I said, and dopamine. It affects glutamate and gamma-aminobutyric acid, the two primary excitatory inhibitory neurotransmitters. It affects all kinds of ion channels, electrons, ionic. It's so small that it can act all over the place, she says. She has an interesting way of talking about it. Pharmacological sledgehammer. I don't know, man. Getting drunk and making your brain dull, that doesn't intrigue me.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. It's me, your immune system. I'm always hard at work defending you against the many disease-causing
this new book, Never Enough. Dr. Giselle, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. It's really amazing how she is able to describe the effect of drugs and alcohol on the brain. She described, as I said, alcohol as a pharmacological sledgehammer. And she said, so it's been really hard to study alcohol. In fact, because the molecule is so small, we are still just beginning to understand how it is that you feel drunk, what the mechanisms for feeling drunk are, because it acts kind of like a sledgehammer, or just in a widespread way to disrupt all kinds of self-functioning, close quote. Talks about cocaine. The metaphor she uses for cocaine, she said it's like a laser. Cocaine is the perfect opposite of alcohol, she writes. It does one thing. It does it really effectively. It blocks the recycling of dopamine and other neurotransmitters such as norepinephrine. And that enhances pleasure, enhances arousal, and enhances movement. So it's very specific. It's easy to study relatively, I should say, and much easier to understand how it works. Marijuana. She said marijuana floods the brain. Marijuana, she said, is both like cocaine and alcohol. It's like cocaine in that its actions are very specific. It behaves like alcohol, she says, because the actions are all over the brain. It does one thing, but it does it everywhere, marijuana. So for cocaine, it does one thing, but it does it just in a few pathways. Alcohol does many things all over the place. THC, which is in marijuana, the active ingredient in marijuana, does one thing more or less, but everywhere. This is interesting. And that thing is to enhance communication between cells to enhance the message. So she said it's kind of, so to kind of turn up the gain or the volume on a particular message that neurons are communicating. Marijuana does that. She said when people smoke marijuana, the whole brain, the entire brain is flooded with THC. And that causes cell-to-cell communication in cells throughout the brain to be enhanced or to otherwise be exaggerated. And she said that's really funny. That's really fun because it seems like, wow, everything is so interesting. Everything is beautiful. The music is so rich. The colors are so wonderful. The food is delicious. Everything at once is turned on, she says. That's not how the natural system would work with discretion. Man, she's good. Wow. She said what's unfortunate is the brain doesn't adapt to that. It adapts by decreasing the number of sites that the THC can have an effect on. So those sites downregulate, meaning they go away over time. And she said it doesn't take long for that to happen. The more you use and the more you use, the less those receptors will be there. Uh-oh. And when you take away the drug, then the things seem sort of like lifeless and gray. Then things seem sort of lifeless and gray and maybe less interesting. Wow. She's writing this book from the perspective of a recovering alcohol and drug user. And she's a premier, prestigious neuroscientist. And then she talks about the opiate addiction. She said, opiates make the user feel they're not suffering. They are completely content and completely comfortable, completely well, and everything is okay the way it is. No wonder people get addicted to it. They're in pain, and they're looking for relief. Boy, this is just what the doctor ordered, no pun intended. And I think she said, for that reason, they're so attractive, because often we don't experience that things are okay the way they are. So they're kind of perfect antidote to suffering of any kind. Close quote. My God, this is insightful. She's talking about something. This is really complicated stuff. It is. And she has this artful way of describing the experience. She said the problem is that if we reduce suffering and we produce euphoria using opiates, the brain adapts to that. And so now we don't feel high and completely content with them. We just feel not sick and miserable. And when we take them away, we feel full of suffering, she says. Much more suffering than we had started with to begin with, so the brain produces its own type of suffering. Oh, my goodness. That's pretty descriptive stuff, man. She's giving you and you're giving the reader an insight into how these pharmacological agents work, these compounds work on the brain. Have some interesting statistics about adolescence and drug use. Remember what she said about adolescence and what happens? I'll come back, I'll share that with you.
Don't be stressed out or anxious. Take Hempanol, the only raw CO2 hemp extract available. It's 100% organic with wild oregano P73 extract. You might have heard about CBD, but there's no comparison. Hempanol has the power and potency you need to support your nervous system, stay calm and focused, and maintain a healthy immune system. Unlike other CBD oils, Hempanol contains the full spectrum of phytocannabinoids. Take Hempanol and feel great. And if you suffer from insomnia and can't seem to get that full night's rest, try Hempanol PM. Hempanol PM is specifically formulated to get you the rest you need without feeling sluggish when you wake. It's non-addictive, completely natural, and leaves you feeling energetic and ready to take on the day. To place your order or to find out where to find Hempanol in your area, call 1-800-243-5242, 800-243-5242, or visit us at oreganol.com.
Pressed for time? Listen to every Let's Talk Nutrition show as a podcast at your convenience. Search for Let's Talk Nutrition on the iHeartRadio app or your Amazon Echo device.
Your shot at $1,000 now. Text the nationwide keyword BANK to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's BANK to 200-200.
From the Florida Central Credit Union Free Checking Traffic Center.
Wreck in St. Pete on northbound 275 near 375. The right lane blocked here. Traffic slow from before 22nd Avenue South. Also, we're seeing delays on eastbound Gulf to Bay Boulevard, US 19 to the Courtney Campbell Causeway. Heavy traffic on southbound I-75 from before Fletcher Avenue to I-4. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm Abrahamson Uterich Hillsborough. Traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring, where business owners and HR professionals can post job openings with screener questions, then sort, review, and communicate with candidates from an online dashboard. Learn more at Indeed.com/hire.
The unemployment rate is at a 48-year low. Most people that want to work are working. If you're trying to fill open positions at your business, you'll have to find your next candidate from the currently employed. iHeartMedia can help you spread the word to 93% of the U.S. population. That's right, 93%. Use this radio station to find your next employee driving to or sitting at their current job. You'll have your pick of the most qualified candidates for any position you have available. We can help. Go to iHeartWorks.com. That's iHeartWorks.com.
You can always find things around the house to give to Goodwill. But I have a bigger reason to give. My brother, Jim. When Jim was just 6 weeks old, he had a stroke. He had to rewire his brain to do most things we all take for granted. Thanks to Goodwill, Jim has a job and a sense of purpose. You know how they say your donation to Goodwill changes lives? Well, it's true. Goodwill is the best thing that ever happened to Jim. Please donate today.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless, and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-605-1653. That's 800-605-1653. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-605-1653, 800-605-1653.
From the Weather Center, Abrahamson and Uterwick, the injury lawyers, 30 years experience. And Ellis Hillsborough.
Your Tampa Bay area forecast, becoming partly cloudy and windy, high 68. Tonight, clear and cold, low 48. Tomorrow, sunny and pleasant, high 73. For more news, weather, and traffic, tune to WFLA at 94.5 in St. Pete, 105.9 in Tampa, or 99.1 in Newport Richey.
This report is sponsored by CarLots.com. That's CarLots with a Z. CarLots offers Tampa a new, better way to buy and sell cars, trucks, and SUVs. No commission, no pressure, no hassle. Buyers pay less. Sellers get more. Visit CarLots today on East Bears between 275 and North Nebraska Avenue or at CarLots.com. That's CarLots with a Z.
Now, a 1250 WHNZ market update.
Wall Street today opening up in the green. Dow gaining 105 to 25,530. NASDAQ positive 35 points. S&P index up by 11. If you got a Google or Amazon at your house, you can always ask it to play 1250 WHNZ.
Let's Talk Nutrition is brought to you by Jarrow Formulas, superior nutrition and formulation. Natural Factors, where great health begins. Kyolic, aging makes the finest garlic truly odorless. Celsius, live fit. Flora, 100 years of herbal wisdom. Let's Talk Nutrition on the web at letstalknutrition.com. We're back from the break, so let's rejoin Dr. Michael Garko.
Boy, this book is so intriguing. It's a new book. Judith Grisel, she is a neuroscientist. She's at Bucknell. She's a professor of psychology at Bucknell. She's a recovering drug addict, alcohol. She's done it all, and became one of the world's most renowned neuroscientists. And she got into it because she figured, well, if I learn it's a disease, if I can cure the disease, then I can use. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. That's what she revealed in the interview. Terry Gross, who interviewed her, said, oh, so you got into this because you wanted information, you wanted to learn and get other people not to, help them understand and not get addicted. She said, no, that's not why I did it. She was totally authentic. I laughed. I thought, that's a great answer. The book is entitled Never Enough, The Neuroscience and Experience of Addiction. Her descriptions of how drugs work, describing alcohol as a pharmacological sledgehammer, that is a remarkable metaphor. She talks about cocaine being laser-like. She talks about how marijuana floods the brain. The alcohol and marijuana behave in sort of the same way in that they affect everything in the brain. Cocaine is selective on its targets. And then she talked about opiates and opiate addiction and why how they work in very, very common parlance, using her insight into the science of these agents and why people get, and I can see why people get addicted on opiates, the way she describes it. Then she talked about adolescents who use during that time of their life and how it will have an impact for the rest of their life. Because the brain is still laying, the neural networks are still being laid down. So I shared that with you. If you have any interest in addiction of any kind, I would love to interview her and talk about food addiction and see if she believes that's real. My guest is Stuart Topp, one of my closest and dearest friends and colleagues of all time. Been on this show for 14 years, and I always love when he comes on because this is the only time I really get a chance to talk to him. Shame. He's busy. Stuart, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on. We have a very handsome photograph of you, image of you up on the screen. Everybody's watching that worldwide. And you still haven't grown any hair back.
No, and natural products do not help hair replacement.
You can. You look handsome, though. Does your twin brother shave his head?
He lost his hair before I did, Doc, and we are identical twins. And so it was very strange. For about 10 years, I had hair when he did not. So he used to talk to me, and we're identical twins. I mean, it's amazing. We're like a carbon copy of each other. And he would stare right at my hairline and talk to me for an hour without even blinking.
He's pretty funny, isn't he?
He's one of the most animated, neuroplastic. That's what I was thinking in listening to your introduction, that the brain is still so plastic that it's astonishing that in many cases, no matter what we do to it, it just can keep adapting and changing. And yes, he's witty and fast and funny. So it's really a trip to have an identical twin brother. And I am married to an identical twin. How weird is that?
How would you describe what is the one thing that really distinguishes you from your identically twinned brother? What do you think is that one thing that you say to yourself, what's his first, may I ask his first name?
His name is Tom.
What in your own mind, I have a reason for asking, what distinguishes you in your own mind from him, that one single thing, being that you're so much alike, such a carbon replication of one another?
Well, that's where sort of all the epigenetic influences and nature-nurture become such an interesting conversation in my own life. And again, being married to an identical twin, we have two controls, and we're watching this experiment.
Yeah, your twin being the control agent in the experiment. That's pretty funny, brother.
Now, both of us, both my wife and I, like you and most of our listeners, are interested in wellness and well-being, and my twin has been a consistent member of the gym the entire time. Now, I dropped off when I was like 19 or 20. I mean, my trainers sometimes laugh at me. They're like, yeah, you take like a decade breather in between sets. You want to make sure not to burn out.
He's an avid exercise enthusiast.
Yeah, so one of the things that's interesting is to watch the metabolic stress, because when you have more muscle, it's metabolically expensive. So it's interesting to watch how he is aging and how I am aging with our different environments. And so that, to me, has just been, it's probably the greatest experiment that I'll ever get to be part of.
Does he look older than you or younger than you?
Now he looks older than I do, and I believe
really?
He's a painter, so I know he's been around more chemicals. He is just as manic, and he's a workaholic, and his sleep cycle, he'll sleep when he's tired and eat when he's hungry, and I try to keep myself in the circadian rhythm. So he's going against the circadian rhythm. He has more oxidative stress. He has more neuroinflammation. He has more mood issues, and he's had more health challenges. However, he's ripped. So when people see him, they say, damn, you look good.
You say he's a painter. Artistically or otherwise?
No, yeah, he's a fine artist, and he does art restoration.
What do you think his IQ is? 140, 150, 160?
Probably 160, something like that. And what's interesting is his paintings look better now than they did 20 years ago. 20 years ago in art school, people just couldn't understand. And he was painting observational paintings. So that's another interesting nature-nurture, right? How do you see the world right in front of you? And as we change, how does our perception of the world change? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very important conversation related to what you started the show with about how we're all more stressed out than we've ever been before, and we're adapting to it as well. Many of us are adapting to it.
Drug and alcohol use, according to Dr. Giselle, is so ingrained in society, she said. It's just something to notice how much of society is focused on kind of buffering or escaping or mitigating reality in some way. And for people who can get away with that without self-destructing, I think that's something to notice. But for the rest of us who struggle with addiction, and we're not really that rare, it's a pretty common disorder. Oh, close quote. Come back, we'll talk to Stuart Tomper. I love him. You'll love him too. Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. We're coast to coast and we're global, literally. The show streams, and it's up onto 4 different platforms: YouTube, Facebook, our website, and Roku. We get 30,000 people a day on average that will watch this show somewhere on this planet. That's you got to dig that. My guest today, and the number will go up today because Stuart's on. Stuart Tomp's my guest, and Stuart is Vice President of Nutrition for a great company. They really got it together, and they've been on the leading edge of this CBD oil movement or CBD movement. And we enjoy having him on, and he always has breaking news of one sort or another. Stuart, welcome back to the show. Any breaking news from your outfit?
Yes, actually, Sarasota police have been making a move on CBD stores.
What do you mean? What?
Right now. You asked for breaking news. This came in right now from the Herald Tribune. I will forward you the article right now. There are proprietors that have little tiny pop-up stores that are selling hemp extracts and CBD products that are having some issues with local authorities today.
For what reason?
Well, because of the lack of clear regulation around this ingredient. And that's why we ask you very seriously to consider using a product that comes from a reputable company. I'm reading this article right now. I'm sending it to you right this second. And they're making a very, very good argument that the authorities have a responsibility to protect people, public safety. They don't want people going into gas stations. They say it right in the article, or into stores where people don't know what they're doing to buy some random product that might not be tested or made appropriately. So we have a very interesting debate going on right now. If you want your own hemp extract, you can probably create it yourself, grow it yourself, or use a quality product like Plus CBD oil, because here's the confusion, Doc. People are confused about CBD from marijuana and hemp extracts that contain a little bit of naturally occurring CBD. So as we work that out, as the U.S. Hemp Roundtable works that out, as the FDA works that out, it will eventually be settled. 3 different products, 3 different markets: the pharmacy, the dispensary, and the health food store. So you should have gotten the article. It just came out today, and it's in your inbox.
Are the authorities in Sarasota, Florida, are they concerned that they're selling an illegal drug? What's their concern?
The concern is the safety of the public. Let's never forget FDA's mandate. FDA's mission, the Food and Drug Administration, is responsible for protecting the public health and ensuring the safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biologic products, medical devices, and by ensuring the safety of our nation's food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation. That's their goal. And the whole world and the whole country is excited now about CBD and hemp, and there is confusion about which product is appropriate for which retail location. So that's what we need to educate people about, that there are pharmacy products, dispensary products, and health food store products. So for right now, only buy hemp extracts in health food stores that are carrying hemp products and not marijuana products.
Plus CBD oil, that's the brand. That's what's on the bottle. That's from CV Sciences. They're all about the science. They have a clinical trial supporting the safety and efficacy of the product. That's remarkable in and of itself. And it's sold in fine health stores throughout the United States and North America. When you say pharmacies, dispensaries, and health food stores, by dispensary, what do you mean?
Well, let me explain. The hemp plant is available in really two major forms. One we call decaf, and the other one we call regular. Now, I've made up those terms. We made those terms up. Decaf and regular. Leaded and unleaded. So the hemp plant is genetically different. It's used for rope. And only a dope smokes rope. My grandpa was in the Navy. He used to say that during World War II. Only a dope would smoke rope. That hemp plant is totally different than the marijuana plant with higher THC. Now, here's the challenge. When you look at this article that I sent you, the last line of this article says, our message from the beginning is, if it works for you, and you think it works for you and you want to try it, or you need it, go to a physician, get one of the cards, and buy from one of the licensed dispensaries so you know for sure exactly what you're getting. No. I'm calling garbage on that. You know exactly what you're getting when you buy our product because it's safe and effective. This is bad advice. Local authorities are telling people, if you want CBD, go to a dispensary. Let me tell you the difference between dispensary CBD and health food store CBD. We've never talked about this on your show. Are you familiar with the scent molecules that make cannabis smell like a skunk? The terpenes, are you familiar with those compounds?
Yes, I am.
They're volatile aromatic compounds.
Yeah.
Did you know that the scent molecules in reefer, marijuana, dope, THC, the scent molecules are completely different than the scent molecules in an agricultural food fiber hemp product? Were you aware of that?
Not really. I never thought about it.
Well, we need to dive into this because that's one of the main differences between dispensary CBD and health food store hemp.
CV Sciences plus CBD oil is what you need to buy. Given my monologue today on the biology...
we got to talk about that too.
the biology, the neuroscience of addiction, hemp... You can have hemp salad, wear a hemp suit, whatever you want to do. You're not going to get addicted to hemp. You can't. The THC is bred out of it, darn near. I mean, just a trace amount. It's nothing. It's not. They come from the same. Yes, they have a similar parent. Yes, the same parent, but they're different kids. Okay, they're different. These are not identical. They are different. They are not. They're not identical twins. They're fraternal twins, if you will. And there's one thing that really makes them different, and that's THC. That's just one thing. Stuart's going to tell us another. Of course he will. Are you tired of being... Every time she says it's time, I'll tell you what thought occurs to me from time to time is Buffalo Bob. Howdy doody. What time is it? It's howdy doody time. No, it's no howdy doody here. Welcome to Let's Talk. For those of you who remember, there are a few people out there saying, oh my God, I watched Howdy Doody. Great to be with you. Hope you're having a good day wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. Stuart Tomp is the guest today, and great guest that he is. And we're going to, he gave me some breaking news, gave us some breaking news. Down there in Sarasota, the authorities are all worked up about CBD. I guess we'll break that story down a little further for you as to why they're not going into health stores. I guess they're going into dispensaries. Some of these dispensaries are popping up all over the place. You can expect that. This is what happens with things. Here's how to connect.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. Dr. Garko, personal emails, Dr. Garko, letstalknutrition.com. Like us, share us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on the Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Talk Nutrition. Everything is archived by date and closed caption for the hearing impaired.
Stuart Tomp is Vice President of Human Nutrition, or Human Nutrition. There's non-human nutrition, too. At CV Sciences. They have really been on they're the tip of the spear in getting CBD into the mainstream natural product.
I see synthetic stuff out there. A pit bull and a Maltese are from the dog family, but they're two different breeds. So that's how I kind of explain it, because people need to be aware that they can be taken and they could be getting something that's actually harmful for you if you don't take what you're supposed to and learn about it. So I agree with Stuart. Get it from a local health store and you'll be safe.
What are you going to do with this new store? What are you selling?
It's all hemp and CBD. It'll be the first hemp store in the county. Actually, in about 4 or 5 counties. There's nobody's going to have one. It's called Sweet Relief, LEAF. And I'm going to have everything from, believe it or not, I'm going to have CV Sciences, but I'm also going to have some clothing. I'm going to have shirts and hats made of hemp, and educational. We're going to have educational classes, and we're going to teach the public. Because, Doc, I've seen miracles. CV Sciences is just way ahead of the game on CBD. And that's my number one product. I sell hemp now in my health store. I have a section. And CV Sciences is, I'm not just saying this because Stuart's on. It flies off the shelf. It's incredible. They know what they're doing. They're just an incredible company. And everybody's watching them to see what they do next and follow them.
Stuart, welcome back. Do you have any comments on, or want to say something to Rafina?
Well, thank you so much for being a vanguard of access. Thank you for making these products available, and thank you for what you said about synthetic cannabinoids or even adulterated products. What I mean by that are the products that actually belong in either a pharmacy or a dispensary. So thank you so much for bringing hemp products to the market. Once people understand there are 3 different swim lanes and 3 different products, I think it'll make more sense. Until then, we need to keep the dialogue going just like we are.
So, absolutely. And hemp's like a supplement. You don't need a bunch sometimes to work on something. A little bit goes a long way for some people, and they have to be educated. Oh, if I take more of it, I'll feel even better. That's not always the case, including hemp. You just got to get the right strain, the right company, and the right product matched to the right person, and you're going to help these people.
Yeah, CBD plus CBD from CV Sciences. I mean, that's the way to go. That's just it. I mean, no question. I was on Facebook the other day, and I saw people in your store watching Let's Talk Nutrition. I put a smile on my face. I had to laugh.
Yeah, you're on every day, Doc. You're on right now. I'm looking at you and Gary on the screen right now. You're on every single day at our store, and every single day I learn something from this show. Believe it or not, you guys are just incredible. So we love having you on our store every day.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. We do. We love you.
Absolutely. I just wanted to chime in to you and Stuart, and I hope you all have a great week. And,
you can call anytime you want for any reason. You don't need a reason.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. He's what a wonderful person, Stuart. That guy, he's serving that community down there in Clarksville. I don't know he's within miles. He's the only, I don't know how many miles radius, but he's like an oasis in a desert. He serves that community very well. It's amazing.
And so it'll be buyer beware. It will be buyer beware until there are very clear, clean, understandable federal guidelines. The little stores that are popping up now, he's an educated retailer. He understands the natural product space. He understands what to look for. The challenge with this ingredient, Doc, what I was saying before we went to the break, is that there's a lot of plant material, biomass, growing in America, loaded with these cannabinoids, including CBD, that appear to be very helpful in some people, not everybody. There's mass confusion over which swim lane you're allowed to participate in. For example, Doc, did you know that there's some strains of cannabis where you can get 5 or 6% CBD as opposed to a hemp plant that only has 1% CBD? If you were manufacturing a product and you saw one plant that can provide 6% CBD and another plant that you have to grow outside with tractors that's 18 feet tall that you only get 1% CBD, which plant are you going to choose to grow? The 6% CBD that's 2 feet tall, or the 18-foot bamboo hemp plant with 1% CBD? What's easier to produce?
The former. Right.
So what are people going to be doing? They're growing cannabis with high CBD and low THC. That product technically was not liberated with the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill liberated agricultural hemp, which you plant in the ground with a seed, not a greenhouse with a clone. Got it?
Yeah.
People are choosing to see what they want to see, and that's false evidence appearing real, or forget everything and run, either or.
Yeah, we live in a time where, I don't know, things are upside down. People talking about alternative facts, which doesn't exist. There's no such thing. An alternative fact is an untruth. In the world of science, I can assure you, I've spent my whole career as a social scientist, and I never was taught, I never knew of this concept of alternative facts. There's no such thing. There's no alternative fact to gravity, okay? It doesn't work like that. So we have to sort through all of this, and we can. We have Virgil guided Dante. Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Stuart Tomp is my desk. We're talking about Plus CBD oil from CV Sciences. Cannabis is a genus of flowering plants. They belong to the family Cannabaceae or Cannabaceae, however, either way is correct to say it, I guess. And the number of species within the genus is somewhat disputed. There are 3 for sure that are recognized: Cannabis sativa, Cannabis indica, and Cannabis rudialis. There are more than 3. The point here is that hemp also belongs to this family, and in addition to the marijuana plant. They're part of the same family, but they may be related, but they're different, right? They're different. And Stuart will explain the difference, as he's done many times. And he was saying that even the aromatic qualities of the plants are different. You know, Stuart, welcome back. And why did you want to underscore that point?
I wanted to underscore that point, Doc, because there is so much oversimplification. Even the statement you just made, which has been quoted hundreds of thousands of times, the genetics, which is newer technology, the SNP, the single nuclear polymorphism, the gene in the hemp plant that makes THC is different than the gene in the marijuana plant, which produces THC. So that's one issue. The aromatic compounds are this. You know that smell of pot that smells like skunk?
Yeah.
Well, that compound, one of those compounds, myrcene, is in mango. It makes you mellow.
Oh.
When you use cannabis, you can get up to 2 or 3% terpenes, a lot of it being myrcene, maybe 0.5%, and that can cause people to feel paralyzed, stunned. It can make someone feel drugged or knocked out or even disassociated, and that's not what a healthy person may want. So that may be appropriate as a recreational sedative. That's not helpful for general social anxiety disorder, a middle-aged person who's trying to deal with stress, inflammation, and pain. They don't want to feel anesthetized. So this article that I sent you, when they say here at the bottom, our message from the beginning is if it works for you and you think it works and you want to try it. So all 3 of those statements are contradictory, right?
Right.
How would you think it's going to work if you haven't even tried it? And then they say, go to a dispensary and get a license. No, no, no. Only if you want to get stoned. The CBD from marijuana in a dispensary has copious amounts of myrcene, which will give you couch lock and may not be what you're after. That's why you have to go to a health food store and get a high-quality hemp product that's clearly labeled hemp oil aerial plant parts. That way you know you're not using a marijuana flower. It has to say hemp oil aerial plant parts. That means all the parts above the ground. So the CBD is different in hemp than it is in marijuana. The terpenes are different in hemp than they are in marijuana. Everything is different in hemp than it is in marijuana. So the idea that authorities in town are telling sick people to go to dispensaries to get their CBD is factually, historically, scientifically inaccurate, wrong, and harmful.
There you go. 877-897-8255. 877-897-TALK. That's his story. He's going to stick to it, and I'm sticking with him. Well, it's nice to have you on the show to talk about this. I know you're pretty passionate about it.
Get a little wound up.
No, that's okay. No, man. That's what it takes. If you're not passionate about it, then how you can't expect anybody else to be dialed into it or care. So, what are you doing these days in terms of your day-to-day work? What are you doing? Are you still doing a lot of lecturing, talking, or are you doing other things?
All of the above, and I'm trying to produce new education material that's third party. In the first email I sent you today, there was not only the article that I wanted to talk about, which is now a few days old, but I also sent you the most recent ConsumerLab.com report.
Yeah, I see that.
See that?
Yes.
I want everybody to the contradiction of what's happening in Sarasota today and this ConsumerLab.com report that claims that our product is the top pick and the go-to CBD product.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks down all of the other products here. We're called a top pick, highest concentration of CBD. Our Gold Soft Gel only costs 83 cents per person for 10 milligrams of CBD. It only costs 83 cents per day to get 10 milligrams of CBD through this delivery system. And it breaks down the cost, all the other cannabinoids that are in here, and if it passed or failed. And you notice scrolling through this report, Doc, that many of these products only contain CBD and do not contain other cannabinoids. Did you notice that scrolling through that?
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm forwarding your email to Gary.
So he can put that up. Everybody needs to see this. Okay,
He's going to go. He's going to put it on
our biggest. You can put a website.
You're going to put it on our website, and it's there for the listener and the viewer to see. You look for this kind of evidence.
This is evidence.
I mean, this is an evidence-based show, and I believe you're the only company that has a clinical trial for the product.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. Yes, we have. That's really exciting.
Okay, when we come back, we'll tell you about that and much more. If you are watching the show behind me on the green screen, you see scenes from where I grew up in Pittsburgh. Gary's found some interesting imaging. There's the point where the Allegheny and Monongahela meet to form the Ohio. Love that place. Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast and globally. Stuart Tomk is my guest. You can connect with the show, make contact in this way.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. Dr. Garko's personal email is drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. Follow us, like us, and share us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on the Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have over 60,000 views now at Let's Talk Nutrition on YouTube.
Oh, good. Stuart, welcome back to the show. Do you have any anecdotal testimonials, people that have come up to you and said, I had this experience and etc., that really caught your attention?
Oh, there are now many. I'll send you a news clip from a woman in central Illinois who was battling with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and was drugged to the gills, and then decided to try a hemp extract that she purchased at a pharmacy down in southern Illinois, Prec Shot Pharmacy, and they show our product and this woman claiming that she's going to use hemp extract instead of these dangerous drugs. And so we're hearing that all of the time, and that's why I get particularly animated when there's so much misinformation. During the commercial break, I went back and reread this article. I want to make sure to be fair. The person who suggested that people go to a dispensary is actually a civilian investigator in the narcotic unit for Sarasota Police. Let me say that again. A civilian investigator does not know enough to make this decision. The FDA has a responsibility for advancing the public health and helping to speed innovations that make medical products more effective, safer, and more affordable, and by helping the public to get accurate, scientific-based information that they need. And so this kind of misinformation is not the accurate, scientific-based information that the FDA needs, and you've never heard me say this on the show. You probably should only buy plus CBD oil hemp extracts until this all gets worked out, because our products meet every requirement of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. When they take the other CBD products off the shelf, if they ever touch our products, they're going right back on the shelf the next day. So we're the company that you can trust to help navigate through these waters.
What is the most frequent anecdotal narrative you hear, the theme, in terms of the effect? Is it people say it helps them with pain? More often than not, it helps them with sleep. I mean, is there one theme that sort of gets to the top, if you will, if you were to rank those narratives?
Yes. Yes, I've seen it now over and over. I would say, to quote one of my favorite new books, The Body Keeps the Score. This stuff seems to help with buried trauma and stress and fear that keeps us from feeling comfortable in our own skin. That may have to do with our heightened state of awareness, fight or flight, and all the neuroinflammation that may entail over a long period of time. So that's what we're hearing, that it's helping with fear, trauma, stress, anxiety. People feel more connected. I remember the first time we got you the right dose.
Mm-hmm.
I remember what you said. You said, I feel like I'm gliding. Do you know how many people have PTSD right now?
A lot.
And we're now finally talking about our failing mental health, and we focused for all these years on everybody getting a 12-pack while our brains went cuckoo nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Time to focus on mental health. So stress, your ability to respond to stress, can be greatly enhanced with a healthier endocannabinoid system. What our products do is they help to keep a healthy endocannabinoid system healthy. And if you can use it instead of benzodiazepines, and if you can use it instead of SSRIs, and it works, tough luck, right? That's how the market, you want free market? Those are free market forces. People want natural. They don't want to be drugged with synthetic pharmaceutical compounds anymore. Not like they used to. Times have changed.
The body keeps the score, mind, brain, and body in the transformation of trauma. Is that the book you're referring to?
Yeah, that's my new favorite read.
What inspires you to inspired you to read that book?
My own personal journey, just all the crazy stuff.
Oh man, you know, there's so
I had
many.
a lot of trauma growing up with.
Well, you know, a lot of people have.
I know. I'm being honest about it. I'm coming out about trauma.
Well, that's okay. And there are so many people walking around all over the world, everyday life. Nobody will ever know them except their friends or their family. And so, they may not even have any friends or family. Walking around in dire emotional, psycho-emotional, and spiritual straits, and don't know what to do. And people even that have a lot of support around them still walking around every day impaired, and they know something is wrong, but they don't know exactly what it is. Am I sort of getting at what you're talking about?
I'm seeing it all the time. Let's face it. Trauma physically affects the brain and the body, causing anxiety and rage and the inability to concentrate. Mm-hmm. How poignant is that? Mm-hmm. So people that are exercising recreational outrage right now in mass, what unresolved issues are we all bringing to this modern day, this flood of information, this information warfare between team human and virtual reality? We are stressed, and I remember I learned it from you, Doc. When the human is backed into a corner, the dominant response emerges.
Every time.
You have all kinds of messed up brain architecture. If the homunculus in your brain is working against you, you may want to check out some hemp extract plus CBD oil to dampen that inflammatory fire of your brain so that you can think clearly, right? Because trauma causes anxiety, rage, and the inability to concentrate. Have you noticed how the attention span has plummeted? What's the connection between our unresolved collective traumas and our failing attention span? There's probably a strong connection. Hemp and plus CBD oil may help you.
What makes the human species so intriguing is that it is populated with paradox after paradox after paradox. And the one paradox is the human psyche, the human body can withstand so much damage and so much assault and so much trauma. It's amazing, and has the ability to repair. But at the same time, it doesn't come without a cost. We are vulnerable. We are in many ways as vibrant and as virulent as we can be. That's how vulnerable we are. And here's the LTN health question of the day. I didn't get to this story today, and that's okay. I'll unpack it tomorrow. It deals with ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed. We're now in a different zone here. It's not just processed, and I've said on this air, if you buy lettuce that's been pre-washed, that's processed. So there's processing and then there's processing. You can process a product into a skull and crossbones product. You can. What am I getting at? There's a new study published in the Journal of the American Association of Internal Medicine. And these researchers took a look at 44,000 adults, 45 years of age and older, who lived in France. And they tracked them for 2 years. The researchers found that for every 10% increase in the amount of ultra-processed foods consumed, there was an associated percent higher risk. What was that percentage? Was it a 4% higher risk of early death, or was it a 14% higher risk of early death? For every 10% increase in the amount of ultra-processed food consumed, was there an associated 4% higher risk of early death or a 14% higher risk of early death? If you have the right answer, you win a $25 supplement gift card.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK.
Stuart, welcome back. So where do we go from here? I
wanted to tie it back into your opening part of the story. I wanted to wait until the end. So if you're dealing with addiction, we're talking about any kind of addiction now. Internet addiction, anything that's causing the dopaminergic signaling. Yes, alcohol crushes your biochemistry. Friedrich Nietzsche said alcohol solved all of our problems, and then it wears off. Okay? If you're struggling with these issues, hemp extracts with CBD, I'm going to use one of Dr. Garko's words that I've stolen from him. I beseech you, I'm begging you, go to pubmed.gov, type in cannabidiol, CBD, and addiction. Any kind of addiction. Hemp extracts with naturally occurring CBD help to calm all kinds of aberrant electrical firing in your brain and can help dampen some of that hyperactive dopaminergic signaling. Even with people that are still using, that add hemp extracts with CBD to whatever they're doing, will slow down whatever they're doing. It is fascinating. We're also making CBD into an FDA-approved drug with nicotine to help people get off of smokeless tobacco, a smokeless tobacco cessation addiction product. So this stuff is so good at helping to calm you down, calm your brain down. The fact that you've got authorities in Sarasota telling people to go to dispensaries to get their CBD.
That's wrong.
Is wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. We're here to correct the story.
Let's go to Doylestown. Amy lives in Doylestown. Amy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
So, in this study published in JAMA Internal Medicine, what did the researchers find? That for each 10% increase in the amount of ultra-processed foods, was there a 4% higher risk of early death or a 14% higher risk? What do you think of early death?
14%.
Yeah. So notice what I said. You're absolutely right. Congratulations. For every 10% increase. So if it's a 20% increase, that's a, 28% higher risk of early death. That's astonishing. Food has consequences. And food is not just food. People think, well, you know what? You eat food, it's food, and it's going to do, all food behaves the same. No, they don't. All foods do not behave the same. And one of the things that we've tried to do on the show is educate the listener and the viewer about food in ways, when I say food, I mean nutrition, that help them make better decisions and choices. Thank you for listening to the show. We appreciate that you do that, and thank you for calling in today to participate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. The book entitled "The Body Keeps the Score," I know it deals with post-traumatic stress syndrome. I have said for years, I use this metaphor, that the cells have a memory.
Yes.
They remember everything. They remember what you did and what you didn't do. And people, and you can't bargain with biology. You just can't. It is a very strict system, and it understands what's being done to it, meaning your body, all of it, the physiology, the chemistry, the anatomy, all of it. And people think that they're, well, I'm young, I can binge drink, I can smoke, I can do this, I can do that, and I'll be okay. No, you won't. My story today on the opening, where I talked about this neuroscientist talking about the impact of drugs and alcohol on the adolescent brain. And little do those young people know that that's going to change their destiny. And that the mind, the brain, the cell, the neurons are going to remember. And that when that neural system is being laid down, that network, it's like building a bad foundation to a house. Lousy concrete, lousy rebar. Sooner or later, that house is going to crumble. And that's what happens to humans. I'm just saying. Stuart, thank you so much for being on today. We appreciate you. We appreciate CV Sciences. I love your passion. I mean, it hasn't diminished one scintilla of a whatever. No, not at all. And I love that. That's great, man. I'll leave you with the closing words. Go ahead, tell them.
I just want everyone to know that we know what we're doing here at CV Sciences. We're the only company offering a hemp product that meets all of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act requirements. You can trust us. We'll take care of you.
That's the truth. Your health is your wealth, and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you.
Everyone's raving about the newest botanical superstar hitting